Ladies and gentlemen, in recent days we've been mourning the passing of the great Nichelle Nichols, the iconic actress who played Uhura for so many years on Star Trek and all the big screen movies. But it would take days and days and days and days of podcasts to cover all the tributes that should be done to her. She was a trailblazer. She was a big volunteer for NASA. She encouraged people of color to get into the space race, to become astronauts, to become engineers, all the good factors. She was a role model to many in the Star Trek universe, including Whoopi Goldberg, who said basically her decision to ask to be put on Star Trek The Next Generation was directly linked to Nichelle Nichols. But today we're looking at a very interesting thing that a lot of people don't talk about. The first season of Star Trek was made better because most of the major episodes that were successful featured Nichelle Nichols in either key parts of the episodes or key moments. Now we're talking about the Man Trap, the Conscience of the King, the various, the Naked Time, and the Charlie X. Now in all 4 episodes, she was the strongest female actress or female presenter in each in each one. There was a distinction. She was driving the plot either by being what they call the mother of the Star Trek enterprise, or she was basically trying to boost everybody's spirits. But it was interesting. We're going to talk mostly on Man Trap. Now, the Man Trap is a very interesting episode where they beam down to the planet and find out that a doctor down there is married to one of Scotty's old flames. But the old flame is not what it appears. It's a salt-sucking monster. Eventually, the salt-sucking monster starts killing crewmen, started killing people on the Enterprise. But it's very ironic. The main confrontation between the shape changer and somebody in the Enterprise is with Uhura. Uhura, earlier in the episode, might have or might not have a crush on Spock, and basically she asks Spock, tell me what Vulcan looks like under a moon, talk romantic to me, or she wants to be in the moment as a woman with somebody she has a slight affection for, and Spock doesn't catch on. Like Spock was very dense in the early part of the series. But when she finds the salt monster becomes a black person, very handsome gentleman, I forget the actor, who is speaking to Uhura in Swahili, and she responds back in the same language. But she kind of catches on to something not right. Now, the Conscience of the King singing to O'Reilly when he's sent down to the depths kind of drove the plot. Same with Charlie X. He was singing a ballad based on an Irish ditty about how Charlie X was trying to find his first love, which drives the plot of that episode. But Nichelle Nichols would complain she wasn't giving much to do, but what she was given, she did a lot with it. Now, she never had any big roles besides Star Trek, Uhura, but it's like playing Queen Elizabeth, like a lot of actors are playing Queen Elizabeth I. You don't have to play anything else. But it stands up. But if you have a chance, again, watch The Man Trap. This is the first one shown, not the first produced. The subtlety of her acting, because she did Porgy and Bess, she's a musician, she sang, she's what they call a Broadway style presenter. She had such an aesthetic of taking 5 minutes of screen time and turning it into the most memorable known, especially first season. Now, she was very strong in Mirror Mirror because the other queen of Star Trek, George Takei, is coming on to her, the alternate Sulu, and she plays kind of a devilish alternate version of herself. So it's quite interesting. Her parts as Uhura got weaker into season 3, but I don't think season 1, the first 13 episodes especially, would have been as strong if Uhura was not there, because she was the straw that stirred the drink. But the Man Trap, I always find that quite interesting. For the opening episode, to take aspects of the Outer Limits, traditional Star Trek, and by the way, not telling tales out of school, if you look very closely, William Shatner didn't really kiss Uhura in that first ever interracial kiss. It was sort of like more a side, no tongue, as we say. But again, season 1, Star Trek, Nichelle Nichols dominated her scenes, and they continued to resonate. And ironically, Why the man trap is important to me during the separation vote in Canada in 1995 when there was a blackout because of the vote, yes or no about Quebec separation. For 1 hour, because we're so close to the Quebec border in Campbellton, New Brunswick, he showed the man trap. And one of my bosses came in, he said, why are you watching Uhura where you should be watching the election? I said, every channel is blacked out. You start changing channels, and each of the other channels had substitute or weren't showing the show. There was no CBC News World like it is now, and it was just basic television. Boise was pissed off, and I said, it's not Uhura's fault. So I always have a saying now, when an election doesn't go the way people expect, it's not Uhura's fault. But that scene with that Swahili duplicate salt-sucking monster, and like I said, she seemed to be Twitter-pated, like she wanted to act out on her very, very strong female needs, but she knew the Enterprise came first, and she needed to be there for everybody. But notice how Spock and Uhura hooked up in the new Star Trek series. Zachary Pinto, of course, playing Spock. It's not what do you call unexpected. Although I didn't see Uhura and Scotty together, but in the movies, but it is what it is. Uhura is Uhura. And Earth Mother comes to mind too. A beautiful lady inside and out. She's really going to be missed. My condolences to her friends and her family and her followers and all the great people that supported her career. It was definitely something that changed the world for the better. What would the world be like without Uhura? Pretty boring and pretty stupid, because Uhura was the queen of Star Trek. Thanks for listening. Bye.